Welcome back to Jeff Koinange Live. Great show today. Ladies' night. 3 amazing ladies in their 30s. All of them lawyers. And all of them principal secretaries. You can't make this stuff up. When were you guys learning? Where were we when you guys were learning all this law? Huh? Umi Bashir, Rosalind Jogu, and Sylvia Museya. You guys are incredible. And people are loving the show, and they're loving what this new Kenya is all about. It's great. It's great. Well done, guys. Well done. We'll be reading the reactions in a little short while. Stand by for that. Rosalind, let me go to you real quick. Saudi Arabia, yes. Big bone of contention. You know this. We know this. The CS, he was here a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about it. And we keep seeing the headlines, the pictures, and then they're very depressing. What are you guys doing about our Kenyans in the diaspora, especially in the Middle East and Saudi Arabia?
I think there isn't a diaspora conversation without speaking about Saudi Arabia and speaking about it in a very holistic way. So one of the things to start with is that there are about 200,000 Kenyans living and working in Saudi, just in Saudi. And of that number, something like 60% are professionals, sort of working in, nurses, doctors, ICT, financial services, that kind of thing. And then 40% is general work, and a small portion of that is domestic workers, which is a question I think you're asking me, where we have had trouble of distress in particular. And the conversation is a little more complicated than we have had it reported probably in the media and so on. I'm not saying that there hasn't been distress, and I'm not saying that Kenyans haven't been in trouble. They have. And for us, that's an extremely important thing to know and to deal with. I was in Riyadh the week before last, trying to figure out exactly what we are dealing with, meeting with government officials, meeting with my team from the embassy, meeting with domestic workers and women, and visiting various places, sort of to try and understand how to deal with this thing. I found some things that concerned me, but also that gave me a lot of hope. When you have an intersection of vulnerabilities, then you basically have a storm waiting to happen. What do I mean by that? If you're a domestic worker with a little education, right? You don't work in the market properly speaking, you work in the household, in somebody's household. You're sort of outside of the usual market. And then you work in a system where you might not understand the law, or for some reason you haven't understood the rules within which you must play. Then you have a number of things going wrong for you. A lot of the trouble that we have seen, particularly a lot of the cases of distress that we have had, and we deal with them on a regular basis. We have given a clear, email address and phone numbers where people can reach us when there is, distress. Is we have established that a lot of those cases are affecting domestic workers, women who are outside of their contract. What does that mean? When you get a job to work as a domestic worker in Saudi, your work permit, your visa is tied to a particular employer. So Jeff hires Rosalind to work in Jeff's household. I don't get to come in and say after 3 months, kazi imenilemea, I don't like it, I'm gonna quit this job and get another job. It's not like other instances of work or other situations such as working for a bank or something like that. You sponsor my visa, I'm supposed to work in your household, and I can't move. So that visa does not allow me to move to a different employer. But a number of housekeepers either do not understand that is how the system works, because maybe we have failed at the training level before they travel to Saudi. So after some time, a housekeeper quits that job and immediately enters the black market, which is now you start working, you start doing gigs. You get into a gig economy. You start doing, I do 3 days in this house, I do 2 days in this house, or, I work for this person for 3 months and so on. That visa that is tied to Jeff's household, for example, is my entry to many different things, including my healthcare and so much else. So once I am out of status, it is difficult for me even to access medical care. It is difficult for me to basically move around. So then, once you're in the black market, you've increased the layers of vulnerability, because now we don't have eyes on you. as government. Saudi government doesn't have eyes on you either. You could be anywhere. You've quite simply fallen, below the line.
The radar.
Off the radar.
Yes.
So if abuse happens at that point, it's very difficult for us to see it. Or only after it has escalated do people, come out with this. Firstly, because now we don't want to come out and say I'm actually out of status, but things become difficult and then we start sort of to see these things happening. We're trying to do a number of things to reduce those vulnerabilities. Okay, we have met with the Saudi government. We have spoken about, the need for respect for human rights. And this is something that they have assured us, and they have shown us specific interventions that they have done, particularly to deal with these issues. They have a rapid response center, which any laborer who's in trouble can call and, report this issue, and they dispatch police and so on to your, to your location. But on our end, one of the big things is going to be increasingly just how to train housekeepers before they leave. Working with, a lot of the recruitment agencies here, with the Ministry of Labor, with us, just to make sure that the people we're sending out, or as they go out, they understand. They understand the constraints of the contract, they understand the constraints of the visa system, but also they know where to go if they need help.
All right, let me get Sylvia in there. And I asked you before the break, your CS crisscrossed the country quite a bit, right? And,
yes, she did.
She came back and she said, my goodness, animals are dying.
Yes.
Elephants are dying out there. This should be a national disaster. What are you guys doing about it?
For me, we start by understanding the wildlife as a natural resource that is not geared towards a private enterprise, that it is for the benefit of everybody. The wildlife resource as it is right now is skewed to the advantage of a few private entities, so that we have bed nights of 400 plus in Masai Mara, exclusive. And let me just say, we are trying to move from an exclusive destination sort of tourism, where people come with chartered flights, then charter another one to Masai Mara or to the private conservancies. So we need people to understand that that wildlife resource is for their benefit as communities, is for their benefit as a country. And until we get to that level, we will see that we do not understand why we need to provide water for wildlife. I mean, water is sanctity of life. But if you understand it also as creation that we have to take care of, one, and two, as a very serious source of revenue for this country, then we will look at wildlife differently. If we come to drought, we are talking about loss of large numbers of course, the wild beast was the most affected. We lost about 300 heads of elephants. We lost a lot of zebras. But that number does not sink, unfortunately, to people. It is not something that causes sadness because they do not see benefit. And for me, on top, after HWC, human wildlife conflicts, my second biggest goal is to make sure that wildlife as a resource work for communities, that communities actually benefit. As it is right now, there is not enough sharing of benefits to communities. People have surrendered their land for wildlife conservation, refrained from livelihoods like livestock keeping, and that is why you see from where I come in Laikipia is a cat and mouse game. We keep on bringing the livestock to the parks. They keep on confiscating us for illegal grazing. We burn down the lodges. They come out. It's just a whole vicious cycle. So I think we need to relook at how that resource, because it's a very important resource. When you look at the seventh wonder of the world, or now eighth, as the wild-based migration of Serengeti, Masai Mara, and there is so much underutilized parks in this country. So while we are suffering, where elephants have now invaded Njogu's, she called me to say her father's farm was invaded by my elephants.
It's true, and I want her to pay my father's farm for, the cassava, the everything, compensation.
And I told her she has to wait. She's in the queue. I have not compensated the 2014 claims.
Right.
So the perception of communities on wildlife is such that it is something that gives them pain. And they do not accrue benefit directly from them. We have new conservation models coming up that are a source of debate, whether they are working for communities better or not. Of course, you will not imagine the level of interest in wildlife, even at the international level. We have serious players in conservation in this country, serious investments from within and without. And for instance, the drought situation, and we are foreseeing a drought situation. We did not have rains for the last quarter of 2021. We did not have sufficient rains in 2022. I did an overview of Savo last weekend. Half of Savo is completely dry. The other half of Savo is completely green. Both Savos, the green and the dry one, there's no water. So even if there's pasture and there's no pasture, they have to come out and get water. And so I have really been escalating this conversation about water for wildlife. But until we have communities better benefiting from that resources, and you realize that the conservancies and the protected areas are usually around community areas. Amboseli is within the communities of Kajiado, especially the pastoralists, and I dare say the Maasai community, they host the largest. And for a long time we coexisted. But of course, climate change effects. So we are all competing for the same small resources. And if we do not share resources, even at the budget making process, we are in for trouble.
We're in trouble, yeah. Absolutely. Umi, you mentioned Madonna was in town not too long ago.
Oh, yes.
Did you meet her?
No, sadly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bill Gates was in town as well. A lot of people have been passing through Kenya, huh?
Yeah. We need to up our game in terms of celebrities and, international persons who can be of great importance to our tourism sector. Maybe one way we can do that is work with their people, especially with the tourism part of the ministry, so that we have at least we get to meet them and have their itinerary, take them to the Mara, and so that they can also experience our cultures. A place that I would like to actually touch on is Bomas of Kenya. Bomas of Kenya is also under my state department, but sadly it's known for
IBC.
It's known for
IBC choir.
That's right.
IBC choir, that's what it's known for. And I really want to change that narrative because this is an amazing part of our heritage and culture. We have amazing grounds there at Bomas and conference facilities. We have the manyatas, the homesteads that are there, which I'd love for us Kenyans to experience, take our kids and see the different lifestyles of different communities. We have an utamaduni restaurant there that has different cuisines. If you want to taste, the Kisi food today, you want to taste the Anjera tomorrow of the Ethiopians, everything is there. So for us, it's just putting it out there. So what we're trying as a new regime is to ensure that we put it out there in is it social media, use the youths, use the the influencers, so that we get the internationals to come over. People from China have approached us, and they really want to know, okay, how many heritage sites do you have in your country? Where can we go to when we come? Is it just the Masai Mara and Diani? Is that it? But we have brilliant cultures. We have 25 heritage sites, monuments in this country. With the other day, we were trying to get, the UNESCO to make the Kaya Forest one of the internationally recognized heritage sites. And we have the Fort Jesus. But, previously it's been a house for the old. Museums, a house for the old people, a house for old things, artifacts, boring, fossils. But that's what I want to change. And together with my CS and my team, the PSs in my ministry, the tourism and also the wildlife, we're trying to come up with a circuit, a tourism circuit that can actually go to the west, the east part of this country, the northern part of this country. We're also trying to, come up with a culture calendar where each county has their own cultural days. For instance, we have the Lamu Cultural Festival, we have the Turkana Festival, we have the Camel Derby. We have so much potential in terms of culture in this country. But what we want to do is be more organized, be more strategic, because we seem to be all over the place. But with this new young regime, I believe that we'll bring the change that the Kenyans deserve.
Yeah, and also tap into the Eliud Kipchoges and the Ferdinand Omanyalas, Faith Kipyegons, you know?
Yes,
tap into those.
The goats.
You know,
let me tell you what we also want to do with Eliud. You know, Eliud is actually, it's going to be his first time to go for the Boston Marathon. It's a different experience for him. It's hilly. It's not like the usual terrain that he's used to. So it's an exciting thing for us as Kenyans and those who are passionate about sports. He's a hero to us. He's in our Heroes Council board. He's part of us in my State Department. And we want to come up with a museum in Eldoret that we'll call the Museum 1.59, if you know what I mean.
159,
Yes.
wow.
Yes, so
Really?
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
We have this brilliant athletes. We have amazing heritage because our heritage is sports. We are known for that. We're the best of, athletes. But we don't capitalize on that.
Yeah.
So we want to change that narrative and be, the change that we want to see in this country.
Absolutely. And you guys are part of that. I mean, you're the next generation. A lot of people are very impressed.
Speaking of silos,
Yes.
so you see how she's talked about Kipchoge's, marathon coming up in Boston.
Yep.
Think about what that does for the diaspora community in Boston.
And there's lots of Kenyans in Boston.
Yes, sort of as an organizing sort of magnet, and how then we can have diaspora events around that and diaspora conversations. So these are some of the ongoing conversations about how, from one event, do various state departments or ministries come together, in the interest of delivering as one government.
Yeah. So Jeff, if I may, culture and heritage initially was under sports. So now it's moved to tourism. So how do we then work with sports? For instance, with the Eliud Kipchoge, he's retiring next year. So we need to make use of him this year. So it's a big deal for us as a State Department to work with the State Department of Sports, my brother P.S. Mweke, to also work with P.S. What you call Njogu, so that out there, they know him as, the GOAT. But when he comes here, what are we doing about it really? He's advertising phones and amazing gadgets, yes, but how much do we appreciate him? Yeah.
Absolutely. 159.40, yeah? 150. Nice.
Yes.
All right. Lots of reactions, by the way. Can I read just a couple here, right here on my phone?
Sure.
There's a couple. Jeff, this is from the unofficial mayor of Isili. Yeah, my good friend Asmali. He says, an excellent panel on JKL tonight. Kindly pass my regards to all the ladies, and in particular, P.S. Umi. She's a go-getter, and I'm sure she will be a great asset to the government and country. Her appointment will surely inspire the girl child, especially those in the north of Kenya.
Well done.
We have a colleague of ours called Wycliffe Orandi. Wycliffe. My bad. He says, say hi to the honorable ladies and congrats to them as well, all of them, especially Rosalind. She knows why. Okay. All right.
So
Here's another one
friend.
from someone I went to school with. His name is Joe Kithiaka. He says, Jambo, brother, good to see you. Congratulations to all our guests. I'm watching and very impressed by the new drive, fire, and hope for this country. Well done. This new team of PSs, focused and indeed, cheers, God bless. Well done, ladies.
Thank you.
Let's see what's on the giant magic screen, because the reactions are coming in thick and fast. Thick and fast. This is Debbie Ruto. She says, kudos to these honorable ladies for taking up the mantle and for being trailblazers for young Kenyan girls everywhere. Justin Wright says, P.S. Diaspora, Rosalind Jogu is a youthful, energetic, and open-minded person I've ever interacted with. She has what it takes to lead the new docket with fresh brains.
Thank you.
All right, all right. Mulwa Jr. says, ask PS Wildlife Sylvia Musea, how does her ministry plan to curb the human-wildlife conflict in Laikipia, which has been giving locals sleepless nights? I think you mentioned that a little bit, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water is that resource we all need, right?
Yeah.
Good, okay. Abdul Bashir, you say, on PS Umi Bashir, her wealth of experience, professional background, pro bono services she rendered to NEP Girl Child using her law firm, Umi Bashir advocates, and her NGO, Women for Women. Yeah, Women for Women, is that what it's called?
Yes, Alliance.
Women for Women, A. Under the Big Sister Initiative program, earned her the position.
Poison. All right.
Such a passionate. So it was good up until that word.
Poison.
Yeah.
All right, Brian Wairima says, pass my hearty congratulations to Sylvia Musea. Yes, Musea, she had been appointed CEC Youth and Sports in and even before she got sworn in. President Ruto appointed her for the PS position, meant it to many of us in Laikipia. They miss you already in Laikipia. Oh, all right. MSS Solomon says, really smart ladies, thumbs up to them, and good luck in their respective dockets as they steer our nation forward under the KK leadership. Well done, ladies. Good job, good job. One more. Let's read one more. Bore Collins says, great to see young women at the center of the country's transformational agenda. Listening to them, you understand why the president appointed them. Many young people look up to them for mentorship and guidance. I wish them well. Wow.
Thank you.
Lots of positive reactions, ladies. Congratulations. Well done. A lot of pressure now, huh? A lot of pressure on you to perform, and not just from the president, but Kenyans are looking up at you. So, as we wind up, some closing thoughts. Sylvia, you first. Closing thoughts going forward.
I would finish with what Umi started by saying, of course, I'm extremely grateful to the president for this appointment, to God even for this opportunity, and understand there's a lot of expectations on our shoulders, not just because of ourselves as young ladies, but because of the entire Kenya Kwanza government. Too many pledges made to the people. My closing remarks is that the president, who is the vision bearer for this country, is focused, is determined. Every conversation starts and ends with, how is that good for the people? How does that impact directly to the people? What does conservation for you look like to the benefit of the people? Yeah. And I want to assure all the players within the wildlife sector, there are many, and there are many conflicting interests therein, but there can be a win-win situation. We can have this resource to the benefit of everyone if we use it sustainably and if we plan for it well, including planning for drought that we're anticipating before the end of this year. But finally, very grateful to my CS, my fellow PSs in the State Department, and all my colleagues. It is one big family. We meet a lot of times. We keep on talking, myself and the PS for environment, myself and the PS for blue economy. It's just one big happy family that is joined together because of a lot of pressure. So everybody is asking, have you been called to State House? Then are we being called again? Yeah. Yes, you'll go by Friday. How was it last time? So we keep on checking on each other. The pressure is immense, but the goodwill is there. And we can assure Kenyans that it might, like just the president said, it might take a bit of time to turn around things, but they will turn around. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well said. Well put, Sylvia. Rosalind, your turn.
I think for me would be four really quick things. Firstly, just a lot of gratitude for the support that the diaspora community has given me. With a lot, they are an extremely demanding group, but they are an extremely good group to work with. They are asking for a lot because they deserve a lot. They have rights, and I guess having a reborn activist working for them is a good thing. So I've had a lot of support, and they keep me on my toes. So that's the first thing. I've had a wonderful team that has supported me within now the new State Department and in the broader ministry. The Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs has sort of taken me in, and they have groomed us. They're quick to train us. They, things like Madam PS, when you're hosting an ambassador, this is the side they sit on. This very, sort of really, really on the fly sort of support, and working very hard also for them to sort of give them support. You can't imagine the kind of psychosocial support my team would need, for example, because part of consular services is constantly helping people in distress, repatriate bodies, help people. So a lot of support there. I've had a lot of support from my CS. He's truly allowed me to thrive, and a lot of support from His Excellency the President, who is very keen and has said many times, tumempatia kazi na huyu anajua vile anafanya, right? She knows what she's doing, and has extended a lot of support.
I'm my friend.
My friend. And the final thing for me is just the understanding that the responsibility I have is a responsibility of a lifetime. Very few people get the opportunity to set up something like this and set it up for posterity. So that responsibility does keep me awake, and sits uneasy on my shoulders. But I am supported. I have a wonderful support system, family. The College of PSs, as has been mentioned, which is a real support system. And as I started, the faith in a big God for a small girl.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Before I get to Umi, real quick, Africa, is this still part of the diaspora?
Yes.
Do you include like Rwanda, South Africa, Nigeria?
Yes, Uganda, Tanzania, that is the diaspora. And some of the most active diasporas are actually the ones right next to us, Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda.
Wonderful.
Next week, the EAC PS is traveling, and one of the things he's helping me do is reach out to our diaspora in Bujumbura, for example. So every region has diasporas that are different, have specific needs. We spend a lot of time speaking about Middle East for obvious reasons, but the diasporas in the rest of Africa have specific needs and opportunities. Asia, Australia, so the different regions are all diaspora.
And the president opened the first ever embassy in Francophone Africa the other day, right?
Yes, he did.
In Dakar?
Yes. And we're looking forward to seeing what that does for us in Francophone Africa, right? So, continued exploration there. We think about the Caribbean, the CARICOM, as a part of our diaspora, right? So we are leading conversations about what an African diaspora looks like, and how can we be home to communities in Barbados and in the Caribbean. Today I hosted the ambassador from Barbados, in my office, and we're having conversations about what is it about, the ocean that actually brings us together as opposed to, separating us. So those kinds of conversations.
All right. Umi, you get the last word.
Oh, yeah.
The best
for last.
Yeah.
There you go.
So first of all, I'd like to thank my mother for inculcating the culture of reading in me and my siblings and I. I am the firstborn and of our family, and what I learned is that the culture of reading is very important at a very early age. What I would like to mention is that in our schools, what we lack greatly is is the aspect of our teaching our kids our mother tongues and different cultures and appreciating the cultures, because I feel like our cultures are being eroded. There's this whole globalization that is going on, the whole social media and the change in every sort of civilization, so to speak. And what I would like to do is work with the Ministry of Education and see how, together, of course, with my CS, how we can then ensure that kids at a young age understand some of these cultures and appreciate them, different cuisines in schools. Even when we look at it from a larger perspective, have a Kenyan dress, a Kenyan attire that we can wear on our national days, or even as civil servants wear on Fridays, because that's something that I have started in my state department, that every Friday we're going to be wearing different cultures to appreciate each other's cultures. That said, I'd like to close with a quote from Marcus Garvey, and he mentioned that people who don't know the history or understand the origin are basically like a tree without roots. I would not like to see how 50, 100 years from now, how we would be as a country if we do not appreciate our cultures, if we do not appreciate the heritage that we have. We have the archives, but we need to up our game in terms of ensuring that the contents that are in that building are actually respected, appreciated, and upheld. So as a State Department, our job is to expedite that. Before I close, teamwork, my team has been supporting me very much. I cannot do this alone. Yes, I've been appointed. I was ecstatic, but now this is where the rubber hits the road. So I cannot do it alone. That is why I always have meetings with my staff to always learn from them, and also they learn from me. That's what I said. That's why I said I have to make culture cool again.
Yeah, make culture cool again. Umi Bashir, Rosalind Jogo, Sylvia Musea, you guys are great. It's been fun.
So are you.
Someone once told me the future is so bright it burns my eyes. You guys are the future. I mean, the future's now. And it's great to see a whole generation of Kenyans giving us so much hope. A lot of us had lost hope, but we've got it back now. Thanks to you guys.
So glad.
So good luck. No pressure, huh? No pressure. Just go do your job.
Thank you very much.
You're all up to the task. Well done.
Asante.
What do you guys think? You agree? Absolutely. Amazing. It's not just ladies' night. These are young, bright minds, beauty and brains all round, taking us to the next level. Exactly what we need, folks. Wow. Future looking good. Keep tweeting, folks, at Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag JKLive. You know, if it's Wednesday, it's all about those 3 letters on the keyboard that follow each other. You got it. JKL. Thanks so much for joining us. Good night. Good luck.
Good night.
God bless these amazing women, and God bless Kenya.